love to both DIY and decorate with wood, especially when it comes to Christmas. So today I am sharing a ton of easy to put together projects that you can either DIY for your home or gift this Christmas. This is Whiskey and Whit. My name is Whitney, and a huge hello to my Whiskey craft buddies who come back each week to DIY with me. If you're not already a craft buddy, no worries, just hit subscribe down below so you won't miss a future video and you can craft with us. I want to give a huge thank you to HSN for sponsoring today's video. We'll talk more about them in a little bit, and I'm really excited to share some great deals that they have on craft tools for the holidays. But first, let's get into the first project. So I have a ton of scrap wood in my garage that I wanted to get through before the winter hit. But if you don't have scrap wood, no worries. You can head to your local hardware store and check their value wood section. You're able to get some smaller pieces for some of these projects that I'm doing today for super cheap. This is at Menards, but Home Depot and Lowe's and other places has it as well. And also, if you don't have a big saw, you can use one of these miter boxes that I got off of Amazon. So up first, one of my favorite things to do with scrap wood is create these fun little tiered tray signs. I had these random pieces that were already cut. They're probably about 4 inches tall, and I painted them white, red, and green. Then I broke out my Cricut Joy because it's great for little projects like this. I used my smart vinyl so I didn't have to worry about a mat, but you can cut with a mat on this machine. And I used Cricut's easy to use app so that I could just change the size of the different graphics. Now all of these on these signs I created, so they will be available over on my blog. So I added this Christmas movies and hot cocoa to the red one with all the silhouettes from my favorite Christmas movies, doing You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch on the green one, and Merry Grinchmas on the white one. These are so quick and easy, and they look really professional because you can grab the fonts that you like and design whatever you can imagine to put on the different pieces of wood. Another option is to kind of take it up a notch where you add the decal like I did here. This is hot cocoa, and I added it to the bottom of this 7-inch piece of 2x4. Then I took this Tulip Slick paint that I've been using in a lot of videos to create faux chocolate, and I flooded around the top outside edge of the wood. Then I also made sure to fill in the top with some more of that paint, and then I tapped it against my desk, so then that way I would get some realistic chocolate drips down each side. If it's not falling where you want, add a little bit more, tap it again, and you will be good to go. I let this dry overnight, and it looks super realistic with the glow from it because it's a glossy paint. I added a little bit of ribbon as well as some faux marshmallows I made in a recent video, which I will link, and this is going to be perfect for my hot chocolate setup. A fun take on a little sign, and you could do this with any wood. You could also do it with craft store wood. It doesn't have to be 2x4 scrap, but it's nice and solid, and it looks really, really cute. Now we have more counter space in our new house, so I wanted to make this tea towel ladder, and it is so easy to make and also to customize with your own stuff. So I'm using a 1x2 that I bought that was 6 feet long. They're really inexpensive, and I am cutting 3 pieces at one length and 2 pieces at another length. So I've got 3 pieces at 7 inches for the rungs and 2 pieces at 18 inches for the 2 sides. I also set my saw to a 15 miter so I could have little curves at the bottom, but that's totally optional if you're cutting with that miter box instead of a miter saw like I was. Then I'm sanding everything down, and you can either decide to put it together with some wood glue, or you can use nails or a mixture of the two. I started with wood glue but decided to finish off with my nailer because I wanted to twist the rungs, and I'll show you what I mean in just a second. But if you're doing this, you're just going to want clamps and wood glue, and because you're just putting towels on it, you'll be fine. I went through with just one nail on either side, and it was in place but loose enough that I could twist them, so my rungs were kind of at an angle. Once I got the angle that I wanted, I went back through with those 1-inch nails again in my Power Strike brad nailer to get them to stay that way. The last step for it was to stain it or paint it whatever I wanted. I used Early American, and this thing is good to go. Now, I love that I can use this year-round, and this would be a great housewarming gift or a hostess gift for the holidays. You could also give them some towels, but you could take it up a notch by creating a personalized towel. I broke out my Cricut Explore Air 2 and cut out on some heat transfer vinyl this gingerbread decal. I'm gonna apply this with my Cricut Easy Press Mini, and this thing is so nice to have on hand whether you have a Cricut or not, just because it's great for a variety of projects, but then I can cut out this really cute little decal really fast, apply it, I don't have to get out my big press. It is a great supplement to have to all of my heat presses. Now this is a free cut file I will link over on my blog, but I think this is so cute, and you could easily edit the file to include the hostess's last name. I love to use my Cricut to jazz up wood decor or to give a really personalized gift. And so many of you have told me that you have a Cricut on your Christmas list this year. And so if you are looking to add a Cricut product to your craft tool stash, you're going to want to check out these deals that HSN has for the holidays. HSN, yes, is in the Home Shopping Network, engages millions of customers across the country through their TV channels, which you can easily find on cable or satellite TV, as well as streaming. I really enjoy browsing their website too. Their assortment is curated to include products and top brand names in health and beauty, jewelry, home and lifestyle, fashion and accessories, as well as electronics. I studied broadcast communications in college, and I've always loved watching the HSN hosts at work, plus the different personalities and industry experts that they bring on to provide a unique shopping experience. Now through December 31st, HSN is offering deals on the Cricut Explore Air 2. With this machine, you can cut up to 12 inches by 24 inches with a variety of materials, and pretty much all the projects I share here on my channel can be made with this machine. I highly recommend this to beginners, and for clarity, the newest model on the market is the Explore 3, but I feel the Explore Air 2 is a great way to save money and to get your feet wet with Cricut. The Cricut Easy Press Mini is also on sale through HSN, and I love this because it is small and compact. It's got 3 different heat settings, and it's a great companion to the Cricut Joy, which is the Cricut's smallest machine. They're awesome for beginners, and it's smaller than the Explore Air 2 if you're trying to save space. And if you've been eyeing a larger heat press, HSN has $50 off the Cricut Easy Press 12 by 10. Plus, they're running free shipping promotions throughout the season. To check out all of the deals that HSN is running on Cricut products for the holidays, be sure to head down to the description. I'll have links to everything. With HSN, you can shop weekly deal drops in a number of categories so you can keep checking back for new stuff, and you can enjoy now and pay over time with their flex pay options. Now let's get back into the DIYs with this really cute Christmas Eve box that I made for Finn. I've been obsessed with making wood boxes lately with all the scrap that I have, so I took a piece of 1x8 for the bottom of my box and then measured it up against a 1x6 to create the side. You want to make sure that it is flush with your bottom piece. So the trickiest part about building your box is you've got your 2 flush pieces on each side. Then you want to make sure that you have an allotment to cover the ends. So you've got a really nice slat on either side. And so we're going to line it up with this side, line it up with this side, and then mark over here. So then that way our piece will fit flush on the 2 ends. Once I cut my 2 end pieces to fit, then I had a box and I was ready to sand and assemble. Now the first one is the hardest to get it to balance, and I did my long side piece. Then you have essentially a little flat area at the bottom to have it sit. Then you can do the other side, and then I nailed on the other pieces as well. You could do this with just wood glue and clamps because it is a decorative box, but I do like the extra hold of the brad nails, and I'm using 1-inch ones in my Ryobi Power Strike. Then I am staining this with Early American Stain, and then it was time to add some handles before we add some pizzazz. So I've been buying these gate pulls instead of cabinetry handles, and they look really nice and industrial, but they are under $5 a piece, which if you're looking at cabinet hardware that size, they're very expensive. Measure, drill some pilot holes, and then install them, and your box is ready to go. Now you could leave it as is, but I wanted to create a fun little decal to put on the side, and this 11 by 4-inch decal cuts great both on an Explore or a Joy because of the size, so you could use either machine for this. Also, a quick little tidbit, sometimes I decide to take pieces out of a design before I apply it, so I designed this one and decided that I wanted to take the little innards of the leaves out. Totally something you can do and create as you go. Then I'm going to take the transfer tape, put it on my design, pick it up, and put it on the side of my box. Now I get a lot of questions on how do I make it fit, and I like to measure. So you always want to make sure that you have a little measuring tape on hand, and I measured across, and then I give myself about 1 inch less than that, so then that way you've got some breathing room. Once everything got applied, I'm using a light coat of Mod Podge to seal down my stencil, and then I'm using some just disposable makeup sponges, and some different colors of paint to do the leaves, green, holly berries, red, and then all of the wording white. Now typically for colors, I usually only have to do 1 to 2 coats. With the white, I typically do 2 to 3 light coats because you don't want to flood the paint on top of the opening, because even with the Mod Podge, it might bleed. Then word to the wise, if you're peeling off a stencil, you want to go against the wood grain, because sometimes if you go with the wood grain, which here would be left to right or right to left, it sometimes peels up the wood. So if you go against the grain, it will help eliminate that. Also, if you can't get it off in one swipe, go ahead and trim it like I'm doing here, and that will help get everything off. The last step to remove the stencil is to get rid of all of the little pieces that are inside all of the different words and let it dry. This thing is good to go as is, again, but I decided to load it up with some goodies for Mr. Finn for Christmas. To do that, I used the pen that came with the Cricut Explorer Air 2 in slot A, so you can cut and write at the same time. And I created these little tags that say something you want, something you need, something to wear, and something to read out of this pretty Anna Griffin cardstock that I got off of HSN. And these are awesome because you can just tie them on to the little gifts, and this would be great if you're gifting a niece or a nephew or a friend. It's just a nice little theme to tie everything together. So I tied up some books for Finn to read. I tied up some little flashcards for something that he needs because the other ones got bent this year. And then I used some heat transfer vinyl just like I did with that towel at the beginning, but I cut out this Mary Shark because I have a little toddler that's obsessed with Baby Shark right now. So this is just a Dollar Tree t-shirt that I found. I'm folding it in half and pressing it so I know where the center is, folding my decal, and then pressing it at 325 for 30 seconds. Then you can peel off that carrier sheet and you have a fun little custom t-shirt. To get the Baby Shark image, I searched Baby Shark coloring pages on Google. It came up and I was able to cut it out, and then it went really well with these pajamas from Carter's. I'm so excited to give this to him on December 1st. I like to give him holiday stuff at the beginning of the month so he can use it all month long, because if he gets it on Christmas, then Christmas is basically over. So there are a lot of different options that you can do with a simple box. Now, I share a sign like this every year because I made it eons ago and I get so many questions, so I wanted to show you guys how to do it. So it starts over in Design Space and you are going to upload your image. Unfortunately, the cut file that I use is no longer available to use, so I recreated it for you guys, and you're going to upload it into Design Space. I just use Simple and upload it as a cut image. And then I add it to the canvas and size it to my wood. I'm using a 1x8 piece of scrap, so I probably want it to be like about 6.5 inches wide, maybe a little less. But you're going to want to measure and figure out what it is for your specific item. Once it's all sized, I'm going to cut it out just on some scrap vinyl. That's why I'm using this yellow color. It doesn't matter. We're just using it as stencil material. I find that the permanent vinyl sticks a little bit better than the stencil vinyl when I'm doing this method. Then we're going to trim it out and weed out all of the pieces like you would for a regular decal. So we're not doing a stencil this time like we did on that box. We were going to do the opposite. So it's like you were going to stick a decal on something. Once you've got that all weeded out, we're going to take our 1x8 piece and we're going to apply it with some paper transfer tape. I like this because you don't have to worry about it ripping up or doing anything to wood. And if you had a painted surface to begin with, it helps so that doesn't get torn up as well. Once it's applied to your wood, we are going to add a little bit of Mod Podge again. Then before we paint over the top, we're going to add some more Mod Podge. That is my secret ingredient when it comes to wood signs with Cricut materials. We're going to paint over the top with some white chalk paint in a light stroke, and it should all be stuck down, but I also just like to take extra caution when I'm doing this so I don't peel up any of those little pieces. And you can do as many coats as you want if you want full coverage. I did it a little bit splotchy here, which I like. It looks rustic. Then once you're dry, you're going to go through with a little bit tedious of a process, but the end result is worth it, and pull out all of those pieces of vinyl to reveal all of your words in the beautiful stained color. Now you can leave that as is or add a frame like I did here with some 1x2s and added it with my nailer. And here is how you get that beautiful effect. I'm honestly surprised it took me this long to share it with you guys, but better late than never. I'm going to style it with my little Dollar Tree nativity I made from the recent mystery box, and I think it turned out so pretty, and hopefully this tutorial helped so you can create it yourself too. This would also go perfect with another 2x4 project. I had two pieces that were like a medium size, one small and one large, and I thought it would make a really pretty Holy Family setup. So I painted it white. I added a little bit of antique wax by Waverly over the top of the white paint just to kind of distress it a little bit. And then I used some black matte vinyl on the Cricut Explore, but you could also use the Joy for this as well. I weeded them out and I applied the Joseph, Mary, Star, and Baby Jesus to their respective blocks. Now this is another free cut file I will link over on my blog for you so you can pull down these images if you want to recreate this. But it is a really pretty understated, rustic, Holy Family piece of decor for Christmas, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. Now this time of year when we've got our trees and everything up, sometimes it looks a little unfestive if you don't have presents. And so I decided to make one by staining a 1x8 with some early American stain and then covering the entire thing with Mod Podge. Now stick with me here. We are going to let the Mod Podge dry and we are going to trim a piece of cardstock. This is another Anna Griffin piece from HSN. And I'm going to take some parchment paper over the top of that. So we've got our dried Mod Podge, our cardstock, and then some parchment paper. We're gonna go through and press it at 215 for about 30 seconds. That's gonna reheat up your Mod Podge. It's gonna re-engage it, and it's gonna stick down with no bubbles, no wetness, no mess. It is awesome. You could use the Easy Press Mini for that as well, but having a heat press on hand, I was able to do that so quickly. Then I cut some burlap ribbon in half because I wanted it to be a little thinner than what it was. And I used my Cricut glue gun to apply the ribbon to the present. Then I created a bow by doing a little bit of a circular loop, tying the center, and then fluffing out all those pieces on the inside. I glued that down as well as some tails, and this thing was ready to go. Having a heat press or an Easy Press Mini is super game changing when it comes to the scrapbooking hack, because every time I go to put Mod Podge on the old fashioned way and decoupage, I get bubbles. It does not look good. It looks wet, crinkly, all the things. This is the way to go. This next one would make an awesome gift. I decided to do hot cocoa, but you could customize this for anyone's name or sports teams or different characters that they like. I took some 1x4 pieces. I had 3 approximately the same length, so I cut them all down so they were the same length. And then I also cut 2 pieces that would fit along the ends of each. Once that was done, I sanded everything down and stained all the pieces individually because it was just easier for me to have them stained when I put it together. Then I stacked all 3 pieces on top of my 2 pieces that I cut down the ends, and I decided to put it on the bottom so then that way it is kind of a raised tray. I nailed it all down, and then I originally was going to use these cabinet handles, but they didn't have screws deep enough, so I decided to go back in with this 6.5-inch pull from Menards like I used on the box, and that was much better. Then no matter what decal you're putting on, you want to make sure that you measure your tray. And then I'm going to show you how I size this in Design Space. I'm going to add a shape, and I'm going to make the shape the size of the area that I want the stencil. It's going to really help you visualize it in Design Space. So I'm sizing my square. I want to make sure that I unlock the little lock at the top so I can make it not proportional. And then I'm just going to size my hot cocoa design to the size of the square so that it fits within the inside. It's just a really nice little visual hack. Then because we're stenciling, I'm going to cut it out on just some white permanent vinyl. It's as simple as sending it to the machine, hitting the button, and just letting it do its thing. Then I peeled it back from the mat. Then I'm going to weed it like a stencil, so I'm pulling off all of the inside pieces versus that big outside piece that we would normally do if we were making it as a decal or a sticker. Add the transfer tape and add it onto the tray. Make sure it's centered just like we have in those other projects. And then after that coat of Mod Podge that we've been doing all video, I used my little makeup sponges to do white, black, and red. And the nice thing about stencils is that you don't have to worry about your vinyl peeling up. But here, I just prefer the look of painted wood versus wood with
decals on it. And also it's nice because you only have to buy a 50-cent container of paint to change your colors when you do a stencil. If you're doing the vinyl, you have to have that color of vinyl. So that's another reason why I go that route. Once you peel it off, you can touch up any areas that you need to, and then I sealed it with this Varathane triple thick that I like to seal all of my stuff with. I waited to add the handles till the end so I could get the sealant underneath the handles so everything was sealed and good to go. And this thing is going to be a staple for movie nights and hot cocoa bars at our house. Now you may remember my Haunted Mansion sign I made back in the fall, and so many of you asked what I was going to do for Christmas. I should do interchangeable signs, so I made one and wanted to share with you. I made this Polar Express sign the same way I made the Haunted Mansion one with some cedar fence pickets. I cut 3 pieces down, braced them, and then I used my jigsaw to cut out a similar shape as the other sign. Now, if you missed that video, no worries. I will link it down below. You can head over there. I will show you how to make the post and the hanging system and all of the things. And then for the Christmas one, I got this Polar Express design from Design Bundles. I removed a couple of the elements from the SVG file, and then I decided to do black and red. I also added some little curly Q swirls to either side, and I thought this would be perfect for our house because I have a toddler that loves trains, especially Christmas trains. I was able to add the same hardware. The whole process was exactly the same. And now I have a Halloween and a Christmas version of the sign. And so come springtime, I'll have to figure out what's next.
And that's going to do it for this video. A huge thank you to HSN for partnering with me. For more information on all of those Cricut deals that I mentioned, head down to the description. I'll also share some of my other favorite HSN holiday promotions going on right now. And now is the time to start shopping so you can cross stuff off your list, so then when it comes time before Christmas, you're not in a tizzy and you can just relax and enjoy the holidays. So happy shopping. Happy crafting, happy holidays, and I will catch you guys in the next one.